I got it. I got it.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, got it. Now I got it.
Yay,
Okay.
we heard it.
Okay, take 4.
This is very interesting. Peter, I'm sorry. Can you share that one more time? I'm recording right now.
Sure.
Thank you.
The brain and the mind are getting mixed up,
Oh.
and they're very different. We've had a mind since the beginning. Any use of new is the mind. And then we balance that instantly. And that's how we go. Now, some are using their brain, but you don't use your brain for that. You don't use your brain for new. You don't use your brain for balance. The brain is more like a muscle. It isn't a muscle. It isn't physical. So, if we stop using our brain, we also solve the problem, which is we use the mind to instantly balance the new. And that's how we grow. Because every piece that is instantly balanced is growth. And it's really that simple. Now, if we use our mind, then we get mixed up because the mind, to many of us, is the brain. The brain gets confused. So if we keep things simple, it's know what we know. It's new what is new. And it's growth. So it's no new growth. And we balance its now as time has gone and the experience grown, we've added a brain. But the brain has nothing to do with thoughts.
Sorry, the brain?
Nothing to do with thought?
Brain has nothing to do with balance.
Oh,
Okay.
balance.
Yes, it's only the mind, but the brain is so big now. The stable step in, stimulate the mind, but it's not. It's the brain. So, to the extent we use the brain, we get many correct answers, but they're wrong. It can only be the mind that allows us to balance. And when we balance, then we learn to balance instantly. And that's how the mind works. No new balance. The balance is eventually instant because we practice and practice and practice. So some of us are using our brain, and the brain never do that because the brain is designed to do that.
Hmm.
But the brain is so amazing that it simulates being the mind, but it isn't the mind.
Wow.
Peter,
Yes,
is the brain linear and the mind multidimensional?
no, they're both multidimensional.
Hmm.
The brain is wrong. And that's different than your question.
Thank you, Peter. I'm sorry, it broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that, please?
Both answers are correct, but the brain is different than the mind. The mind is linear, multidimensional, and eventually, because of our practice, it takes about a decade practice to become instant.
So we still have to balance instantly one and another. And eventually then we'll be able to know how not to misuse the brain.
Well, the brain is good, but when you misuse the brain, it's wrong.
Yes, and when you say misusing, that's what we almost, it's like an instinct. And the brain likes to override everything. So when you say misuse it is...
The brain likes to do more than it really can do.
Likes to?
The brain likes to do
Yeah,
more
and
than,
until we can tell the difference
ah,
between
Exactly.
the mind and the brain, we get tricked.
we're getting tricked.
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
is this where the heart mind becomes significant for us? Thank
the
you.
heart of mind is part of our confusion. We have a mind and we have a brain. The mind is designed to be instant. The mind is designed to grow.
Oh,
Designed to be instant
and to grow.
and to
So
grow.
when we're connected with our magnificence, we use our mind.
With our mind, that's correct.
Good, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or that was, sorry, you, Cynthia.
But when we use our brain, many of us are tricked into thinking we're using our mind or not.
How will we know, Peter?
It's just practice.
Yes.
What? Peter,
Yes.
how will we know the difference between the brain and the mind?
By practice.
I knew you were going to say that.
Peter, what is the purpose of brain then? Brain. What
Afternoon, Carnival Viewing
is there
family.
any
This is
purpose?
Jerry, your news director. Now, first of all, I would like to welcome you all on board your new home for the next 7 days. Once that you get on board, we become
What's
a big
this?
family.
Somebody turn that
We
off,
have
please.
so much fun planned for each and every one of you for this
It's
Huh.
okay.
Today is a very interesting day.
It is.
Say the least. Yo,
My brain is definitely confused.
It's a perfect topic to be discussing with.
Yes,
Yeah.
Peter knew that.
Conscious, not attached to your magnificence. You have to have something working for you, and that's when you use your brain. If we just stay with our magnificence, then we use our mind.
It's that simple. And
Correct.
he did say that.
Yeah.
It sure does. It just sure
Our
sounds.
magnificence uses our mind.
So for us, people who are practicing to be our quantum magnificence, we shouldn't be really using our brains, right? I mean, as much as we can. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want to use brains anymore. Is that correct? And just focus on our mind and use our mind. That's it.
No, you want to use your brain,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to get tricked. Brain is an amazing thing, but it's not your mind. The key is not to be tricked
Yes.
by your brain.
Yes.
And the only way is practice. And it takes about a decade of practice.
A decade.
A decade.
10
Yeah.
years.
Well, that's been on the
Thank you.
website all along. Anything,
yes.
anything that you practice takes about 10 years. He's had that
Yeah.
since
Right.
about 2014. I was looking at all the old web pages, and practice is about 10 years for anything
Yeah.
to become a master.
Now it's 24 and it's a decade.
Yeah. You're right.
Yes. We're there.
We need.
Now, my
Hi, Purple.
granddaughter Ella is balanced, and she explicitly uses her mind.
She
And
exclusively uses her mind.
Mhm.
Okay.
it took her a long time. And her final step was when her name was Temple. And she still does, she's only 20, so she still uses a brain, but not, she never gets tricked.
It's amazing.
Did you get to see her at Christmas time?
I did.
Hmm.
Yay.
Mhm.
And she, when we came to the airport, we left at 5:30, which she was sleeping, but she set her alarm and said goodbye and went back to sleep.
Hmm. Sweet.
Peter, would Temple consider joining one of our calls in the future?
Say that again?
Would Temple, do you think Temple would consider to join our call in the future?
Not yet. She's still too young.
Okay.
I think that's why her mother took off to kind of protect her.
Okay.
Right.
I noticed that, and I got a mom thing about that. Like Jennifer had to protect the granddaughter because she's quite moved along really, really, really fast. Amazing child, young woman.
Yeah.
So getting back a little bit on mind and brain, Peter, we established at least that harmony is the state that we get when we balance brain, mind, quantum, and magnificence, right? Harmony,
Oh, it's more simple.
it's simpler than that.
Yeah, it's instant balance. Instant
Instant balance.
two words.
Using
Instant balance.
using the mind.
Takes about a decade of practice to learn it.
And there's a huge difference. Well, for us, it will have to be very subtle to distinguish one from another, but there's really a huge difference between brain and mind. And that is
Yes.
something no one teaches, right? It's a big
Correct.
flaw in our education.
See, from my point of view, everything is no, K-N-O-W, new, and instant balance. And it takes about 10 years of practice to do the balance instant.
Mhm.
You use your brain, you never get there.
You never get there.
Correct.
So what, this was the question a few moments ago. What does the brain do that would help us in something? What do we need the brain for?
Brain simulates the mind. But until we practice enough, we mix the two up, mind and brain. After about 10 years of practice, the two are clear. We stop using our mind for the brain. But it takes about 10 years.
Peter,
Okay.
is brain digital and mind analog?
And no, the brain is the brain tricks us into thinking it is the mind. It's not. But it takes about 10 years before we properly use the mind. Until then, we get tricked by our brain.
Yes, is mind analog?
They're both analog.
Oh, both are analog? Did you say that? Oh.
But in potential, they are potentially analog.
Brain is very tricky.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let me have something here to see if I can understand what you said. We are experiencing life in this planet in 3D right now because I have a physical body. I have a brain that is like an antenna that is connected with the whole conscious mind of the planet and all the human beings that are here in the planet. Unless that I have a very high level of consciousness in the now, that I not using my brain just to receive information from everywhere, that I select what's coming to my brain because I need the brain to be able to navigate in this experience that I'm experiencing right now. Unless that I want to disappear from this planet and let my physical body just disappear and then go to this certain level of consciousness, I still have to use the brain to be able to communicate with the other human beings. Unless I want to be isolated completely from the human race. Because brain is the processor of information. And my point of view is I have to select what my brain should process in the moment. And my mind is a collection of information that I have from past life or from this experience life or previous life or in this life that I'm living now. Now we're looking here, I have to completely forget about that I have a physical body that I'm experiencing life here in this planet in this moment and just looking for the quantum and disappear from this planet. Because if I had the brain, is for a brain had the part of connecting me with what is life here in this moment. If I had no brain, then how am I going to communicate with other human beings? I don't want to be part of the human being anymore.
Yes, that was a lot of words. He won't answer. Simple.
We allow it to be simple.
Allow it to be simple.
Yeah. No, Peter's just saying, don't think with your brain. You need your brain.
Right.
My husband had a stroke 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And I'll
Wow.
you need your brain to talk, to swallow, to walk. You need it for functioning, but you don't need it to,
Right.
you don't need it to think. Think from your mind. Your brain runs your body. It
It's
makes
process.
it work. It makes it
The
work,
brain is more physical.
definitely. You don't think with your brain, but it runs your body.
Exactly. The brain is like a if you're going to diving in the ocean, you need a special suit to go down in the water. Now, for navigating this physical world, you need the brain to process information. I
Correct.
think the difference
Well-
is how you allow your brain to go in the automatic pilot, or you control the brain to process what you need to process, but not be the victims of the brain that to manipulate you everywhere that the brain wants to take you.
Well, that's exactly the point. Not to misuse the brain. So we have to use
We
our
basically get confused because our brain is so capable, but it's totally separate from the mind. And until we can recognize our mind and use it appropriately, we get confused because our brain says, oh no, I'm your mind. And that's wrong. So the brain has use. The mind has use. Your magnificence use.
In progress.
So the problem is we get confused. We don't understand the differences. And the difference, we have a magnificence, we have a brain, we have a mind, we have a body. You know, it gets confusing